This essay example, as well as thousands of others, is available in text format on our website for free and without registration. Simply Google Ivy Panda Free Essays.
Robert Burns' poetry is a perfect example of simplicity combined with effectiveness and depth. This paper analyzes the poem A Red, Red Rose, 1794, stating that the poem's usage of simple similes, hyperboles, and repetitions extended the meaning of the poem, in which he describes how deep and everlasting his love is. Burns was born January 25, 1759, in Alloway near Ayr in Ayrshire, Scotland. His biography reveals that the simplicity of his poetry and its being sprung from nature uncorrupted by the evils of civilization and untutored by literary tradition was a myth, as despite being self-educated, he was well-read and valued the established folklore and literary traditions of Scotland deeply. In that regard, the origins of such myth can be seen in the poem analyzed in this paper, which, despite the apparent simplicity of the poem at first, reveals his romantic nature, in which the comparative clichés obtain a deeper meaning. The poem was written in 4 stanzas and was originally written as a song. The rhythm can be seen in alteration, where Burns altered the structure of the lines, where 4 stressed syllables were alternated with 3, e.g., the first line, "Oh, my love is like a red, red rose," has 4 stressed syllables in my, like, the first red, and like, the second line that is newly sprung in June has 3 stressed syllables in new, spring, and June. The same pattern is repeated throughout the 4 stanzas. Additionally, a certain pattern can be seen in alternating the rhyme of the last word in a line, where in the first 2 stanzas, the first and the third lines were unrhymed, while the second and the third have a masculine rhyme. In the 3rd and 4th stanzas, the pattern was established by repeating the words in the first and third lines instead of unrhyming them, while the 2nd and 4th lines maintained a masculine rhyme. The rhyme sounded as follows: rose melody, June tune, last year, I dry, dear dear, sun run, love love, while, mile. This change and alternation of pattern might represent the poem's progression, distinguishing the introduction of the words from the assertion of the idea in the last stanzas. Additionally, such alternation provides a certain melodic pattern, which can be understood given the original presentation of the poem as a song. The usage of similes, which is comparing one thing to an unlike thing by using like, as, or then, is another distinctive feature of Burns's poem. In the first stanza, Burns compares his love to a rose and to a melody. In the first simile, the comparison with a rose, with the assertion of its color in repeating the word red, both can symbolize the innocence and the passion of his emotions, where the innocence can be sensed from the comparison to a flower, while the red color can symbolize the passion of the author. Both similes in the first stanza are followed by a description, in which the author adds a slight detail, in which his love is denoted as not an ordinary one. In the rose simile, Burns clarifies that the rose is newly sprung in June, which explains that despite the passion in his love is young, fragile, and still growing. In the tune simile, the melody to which his love is compared is not any melody but is sweetly played in tune, i.e., in harmony, a distinction from uncontrollable splashes of emotions. In the second stanza, Burns addresses his beloved using 2 similar words in comparison, as fair are you, my lovely lass, bonny lass in the Scots original, where fair and lovely were used like dimensions to describe the depth of his love. In the 3rd and the 4th lines of the poem, Burns uses a hyperbole, i.e., an overstatement, in which the figure of speech shows used asserts that his love will never end by linking the possibility of that happening to the time the seas go dry. In the 3rd stanza, Burns, as if thinking that the previous assertion is not enough to show the endless nature of his love, repeats the last line from the 2nd stanza, adding another hyperbole: the rocks melt with the sun. The last 2 lines in the stanza serve as a return to reality, where the author contrasts the previous figure of speech with a realistic tone, stating that he will love his beloved all his life, as previous metaphors used to indicate the degree to which his love is endless, while stating while the sands of life shall run serves as a realistic promise and commitment. The repetition of the words dear in this stanza, as well as love in the fourth, serves to stress her position in his heart, as well the assertions of the pronoun my, as an indication of possession. The fourth stanza serves merely to indicate a fact, which is the author leaving his beloved for a while. Burns finishes the stanza with a hyperbole, asserting that he will come back, no matter how far he would go. The indication of 10,000 miles might also serve as a statement that love does not know boundaries and distance, and that his love will not weaken no matter how far he is. It can be seen that the simple presentation of the poem, nevertheless, had a deeper meaning, where the usage of similes, hyperboles, and repetitions was successful in transferring Burns' emotions. Additionally, the rhyme and the rhythm pattern in the poem made it enjoyable to be read as a poem or sang as a song. If you want to find more works like this essay on the Red Rose poem by Robert Burns, head over to ivypanda.com. It has a collection of samples with thousands of submissions covering virtually all academic subjects.